What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day at B is for Build. Today is 5 working days left for our SEMA build, our LS swapped Lamborghini. Right now it's over in the paint booth, but it's dry, so we're going to be bringing that in today's episode. We're going to be getting the engine back in, doing any of the last minute modifications that we need to around that system. There's changes we may need to make to the auxiliary system, to the fuel system, other stuff like that. We have finished the wide body kit. Our custom one-off carbon fiber wide body kit is done, and we are going to be showing you that in today's episode as well, along with a bunch of other good stuff. Stay tuned. The boys from Truly came by and made sure that we were stocked back up. They give us about 15 times that amount, so thank you so much to Truly for keeping us powered up through this, although I have a cold right now, so I haven't had a beer in days. Anyways, there goes some fuel lines. Getting started, when we started this car last, it spun off our auxiliary belt. So we have something here that's not quite right, and Oscar's going to start by kind of diagnosing that and figuring out what it is and what we need to change to get everything in line. Normally it's because something's tweaked, something's sideways, something's stepped out further, and that kicks the belt off. Car's frame is all dried up now. This came out really nice, so Kyle and I are in the process. We're going to take all the bodywork stuff, move it over here, get the temperatures back up in this thing, and then we're going to move this out and put it back in the other shop. We've got the car in the shop, and we got this new back pad from the guys over at Mullins. They pulled it off their other Lamborghini, and that's going to really help kind of clean up the finished look of this build a lot. So huge thanks to the guys over at Mullins. I'll put a link in the description. They have tons of awesome used car parts. So Chelsea's going to go ahead and install that right now. Oscar's still working on the harmonic balancer. I'm going to jump into the venturi system. So the venturi, so we have these two tanks here, and normally they have a pump that pumps from this tank over to this tank to make sure that the one with the fuel pumps stays as full as possible. What we're going to be using is a more of a manual, it's called a return venturi system. So as the fuel flows through the return and comes out into this tank, it pulls it back in from this other one. All you really got to know is it helps the fuel get over that little hump in the middle. Alright, the venturi system is hooked up, so you can see this hose that runs out of here is going to go into this one, and we're all good there. Fuel level sensor, we're going to run off of this, so we got a plug. We're extending a couple wires right now, and then the fuel tanks are ready to go back into the car. Oscar and I painted these engine mounts so they won't rust on us, and we took a spacer out of the main belt system. It looks a lot straighter, it all measures up. We're really hoping that it's going to be okay without that spacer. We're basically hoping that the spacer was for a different engine than we have, and that it's going to be okay to run without it, but we don't know until we start it. And that's about it. That's the changes that were made. So once we get that wiring ready to go, we're going to get the car kind of back in a better spot and start installing our fuel tanks and putting our engine back in. Well, we decided to make the mistake of looking at our to-do list before we went off to working, and we realized there's a few other things to do, like mounting our Haltech flex fuel sensor. This bad boy is going to help read the ethanol content in this car. We are going to need to run ethanol E85 to get to our maximum horsepower. So we're going to mount that right here next to this, and we're trying to get the fittings right now so we can actually bolt it like directly into this, actually thread it onto that, and it'll install right about there. And then we realized also I got to install the back window. So we're going to run to the hardware store. I'm going to try and get that fitting, and I'm going to get some 3M window weld, and then I'll be able to install our rear window glass. We got our rear window glass all prepped up. This also came from the guys over at Mullins, so huge shout out to them. Thank you for that, guys. Again, links in the description. So now this is all cleaned up as well. I got that cleaned up, this cleaned up. We're gonna need primer on both, and then we're gonna apply what's called a 3M window weld. It's a super fast drying urethane made for installing windows. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that with a caulking gun. The way you wanna do it is you wanna cut a little kind of triangle out of the tip of your caulking gun so it makes like a little pyramid coming off of here, and then you run a line kind of basically as tall as you can so you make sure you get good coverage across the way. While I'm doing that, we need to run a vacuum line out of the intake manifold that's going to run underneath the car and go to the brake booster up front. So when I tried to do that burnout and not kill Kyle, I didn't have any help, I didn't have any assist with the brakes, which makes it incredibly sketchy and hard to stop a vehicle without your brake booster. So we want the brake booster to work. So what we have here is a 90-degree barbed fitting. Oscar's going to drill a hole in the back of the exhaust manifold, tap it for this fitting, and then we'll be able to thread this in and then run it to our hose that runs the distance over here and into the brake booster. If for any reason the brake booster doesn't do enough, we also have a vacuum assisted brake booster right here there's a sensor in there that activates, and it can also run as well. That may work by default with the Lamborghini system. If it doesn't play nice, I can actually wire that vacuum pump to the brake pedal. Oscar just let me know this is called an intake manifold, not an exhaust manifold. Apparently I made a typo verbally. Just kidding. I know what it is, guys. I have a cold and I haven't slept in 15 weeks. We've got our barb fitting into the back of the intake manifold, not exhaust manifold. Oscar's running new lines into the flex fuel sensor that's going to get mounted in the back right down here over there, and we've got our rear window glass in, and that's all good. So I'm going to start working on the side mirrors for the door. Those have to get wrapped. I bought one from Europe and it's broken, but the cool thing is I got it for like $200, and sometimes they go up to it being $1,000, so it's a really big discount. So I'm gonna find that wherever it is and fix it. We got the mirror disassembled, re-welded, fixed, welded back up, put it all back together, and then I could not get the driver's door mirror glass to fit in this. I was like, it's so weird. And then noticed it fits like that, and then I noticed this is a passenger mirror, and I was like, but I bought this on eBay. It's a driver's side mirror. Then I remembered I bought it from Europe, where they drive on the other side. 4 days till SEMA's over, and we don't have a mirror at all for this car. It's time to get into problem solving space. While I'm figuring that stuff out, Oscar is gonna go ahead and get the fuel tanks into the car. This time we're gonna have fuel straps and heat shields. Getting fancy. All right, well, that mirror's gone. We're gonna have to throw a Hail Mary, and we can't shave the mirror hole because it's got like a buildup on it. So we're trying to order a set of mirrors off Amazon. They're kind of an F1 style mirror. Don't hate me for this. This is not what I wanted. I love the Lamborghini style mirrors, but you know, I made an oopsie. So eventually I'll fix this problem, but for right now we have to do something that's 2-day shipping and try and get this thing together. If that fails, we have a really crazy backup plan, but hopefully we won't have to get there. So moving on, I'm going to install some radiator fans. Mishimoto was cool enough to send us a fan for each one of the small radiators and a very large heavy duty fan for the center radiator. So I'm going to go ahead and bust these all out and install them. Now, we did mention that we were going to paint the radiators, but due to SEMA crunch time, we're out of time. We're not going to uninstall all the radiators, paint them, and all that stuff. We're just going to install the fans and get them set up for wiring. Fans are installed on the radiator. You can see they're nice and meaty looking, man. They look good. This is making me feel very comfortable about our cooling situation. I don't think we're gonna have any problems keeping this LS nice and cool. We already know it flows very, very well. So yeah, this is going to be sweet. Now these all get wired up to a relay, and the relay gets triggered by the ECU when it reads the right engine temperature, so they won't even turn on for a little bit. Same with the water pump actually. It's all going to be triggered, turned on when the car reaches its operating temperature. We may do it in 2 stages. We'll see what we can do as far as turning on the water pump first, circulating, and then only turning on the fans if we need to, or we'll play around with it. Oscar's getting the fuel lines run right now to the fuel filters, getting our fuel tanks. He's already got them back in. He's obviously going to get them strapped down a little bit. And then these are the stock Lamborghini heat shields, and they're going to do a lot to protect the engine, or to protect the fuel cell right there from getting too hot. That was a bit of a problem that we had running in here previously, so that'll be good stuff. Let's go next door and see how Kyle's doing. The super exciting world of body work. So Kyle is applying a little bit of body filler. We just missed looking at the fiberglass filler, but he put fiberglass filler down first, sanded that down pretty well, and then now is doing body filler. Yeah, so that's what the fiberglass looked like before. And you can see any of these low spots means that we need a little bit more buildup to be able to make this thing smooth. He's done a lot of work filling in any pits that the molding left and anything like that. Yeah, we're not great at carbon fiber. I'm just gonna say that right now. Probably never gonna try and like build really visible pure carbon fiber parts, except for later tonight when we try and build those vents out. But yeah, so this is all going pretty well. Kyle's doing a really good job. We need to also smooth up these edges a little bit. This is Chris. He's shooting our film for, he's our cameraman because we're shooting a little mini doc thing following us through the last 5 days of the SEMA build project to kind of explain what it's really like. And it's not really documenting the work that we're doing, but more kind of what's going on kind of between us guys and the compromises that we sometimes have to make to get the build there on time, and kind of the stuff that we lose because it's just work, grab a camera, work, grab a camera. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on in the middle, and we're trying to film something to be able to bring that to you guys. So I think it'll be really cool. And he's a very, very good videographer and photographer, so the shots will look a lot better. So it'll be a really fun thing that we're gonna release once we get to SEMA. I'm gonna get started on our second vent. So unfortunately this didn't, I don't know if it's the time that it had to sit since the 3D printing or what, but they don't seem to match up as well as the last round did. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more elbow grease in connecting these two pieces, but I'm gonna try and connect these two pieces, probably use a little bit of body filler, and then hopefully tonight what we're gonna do is take both of them and wrap them in a layer of carbon fiber for cosmetics, and then some resin, and then vacuum bag them. So hopefully after that we'll take them out of the vacuum bag, clear coat them, and they will be done. The key thing to remember with these right now is that if we mess this up, it's game over. We don't get to have vents on the build because there's not enough time to redo any part of this. So I'm gonna really try and do my best. Got the panel attached to itself, it's looking good. Let's go into the other room, get a little bit of body filler on this and probably the other one, make sure that they're nice and level and smooth, and then we'll get ready for carbon.
I'll be your friend.
boys and girls, Oscar did a great job. Engine is back in the car. Heat shields are on, engine's in, our back padding's in, our flex fuel sensors in. Things are just really looking so much better. It's so much more clean and everything. We had originally planned on showing you guys the wide body kit tonight, but there's no point really right now on throwing the quarter panels on. They're just gonna get in our way for the rest of the stuff that we have to do. So we'll go ahead and show you those tomorrow. Moving over into the warmer side of the world, myself and Kyle have been working on these. I did some sanding here. This is getting really close. I'm really excited about this and how it's looking. It's really getting there. So update on the vents. We got a little bit of body filler across the vents that help just kind of bridge that gap, and it looks really good. I should not have done that. We'll have to clean that off now. And then I sprayed them with some flat black. That's because sometimes the carbon fiber shows through, and we don't want that blue color showing through at all. We're just trying to do one layer of carbon fiber across these. So the next thing that we're gonna do after we clean up my hand marks is we're gonna be spraying some spray adhesive on these things and then wrapping all the way around this thing with carbon fiber. So on the inside and on the outside, carbon fiber. Okay, we got through the first stage all right. This is the part that we've done before. So we put the adhesive on there, we wrap these babies in carbon fiber. We've gotten this far before. We normally have problems at later stages. One cool thing is we actually got the weave to match on these guys, which is cool. So the next step is we're gonna infuse these things with resin. We're gonna cover them with peel ply, and then we're gonna vacuum bag them. We've never done this before. The theory is that putting them under the vacuum bagging and the peel ply will help squeeze everything together and make sure that that carbon fiber stays exactly where it is while the resin dries on the fabric and the plastic. All right, we got these things in the vacuum bag. It is looking promising. I would say that one thing we could have definitely done is having more breather cloth. We really don't have enough, so I don't think the vacuum pump is able to do everything that it could right now, but it's definitely keeping the part kind of squished together like we wanted it to. So we're gonna go ahead and let this thing dry up overnight, cure up overnight, and we'll check on it tomorrow morning. From all of us in the paint booth, Oscar and Kyle and myself, that is a wrap on 5 days of work left. Tomorrow, 4 days of work left until we leave for SEMA. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.